What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for August the 29th of 2019. Of course, for those that are brand new to the show, this is a daily gaming news podcast that keeps you up to date and informed on everything happening in the gaming industry. Hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia, as well as podcast services around the world, including Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and more, if you did want to give it a listen. But what are we going to be talking about today? Telltale Games is back, but only technically. It's only back in name and name alone. Sort of, kind of. It's a very complicated situation, but Kotaku does a pretty good job of breaking down exactly what's happening with their headline saying, two people who didn't work at Telltale Games say they are bringing back Telltale Games. That's basically the situation in a nutshell. Then over 6.6 million user-generated maps have been copied for Halo the Master Chief Collection. You are going to be getting some of your classic fan-created favorites back in the big game. Then, Twitch and Subway are partnering for SUBtember yet again. I will tell you more about that little promotion that is going on and how you can save a ton of money if you do want to support some of the streamers in your life. Then, Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition is out now for $40, a pretty good deal that I'll break down for you if you do want to pick it up. Of course, this is the digital version out now, the physical version coming soon. And speaking of superheroes, on the DC side of things, Batman Arkham Knight is included with this month's PlayStation Plus games lineup, which is also going to be added alongside Darksiders 3. And that's pretty much the lineup for today's show. But again, I do hope you enjoy the program and what I bring to the table. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top gaming news. First off, two people who didn't work at Telltale Games say they are bringing back Telltale Games. Telltale Games is back, well, at least the name is. A group of investors announced plans today to revive the iconic studio, which shut down last September. Although with the company's staff having scattered to the winds, this seems less like a revival and more like one of Clementine's enemies. Today, Jamie Ottley and Brian Waddle, two men who did not work at Telltale Games, told press they had secured the rights to the company's name and some of its licenses, and that they will be reviving the company in Malibu, California. The original one was located in San Rafael, California, which is 400 miles northwest. Ottley's background is in mobile license development, Doug Dynasty, and Power Rangers, while Waddle worked at the outsourcing company Virtuos and the physics software maker Havoc. The money for this venture is coming from a publisher called Athlon Games, a subsidiary of the Chinese video game holding company Leyou, as well as a group of executives who have worked for game publishers like Rebellion and Starbreeze. In other words, a bunch of people are taking a familiar, beloved name and slapping it on something brand new. Telltale Games, of course, was the company responsible for critically acclaimed adventure games like The Walking Dead and Tales from the Borderlands before unexpectedly closing in September of 2018. And what about the people who worked at the old Telltale Games? Polygon spoke to Ottley, who told them, and Jason Schreier is quoting Polygon directly, that some workers from the original Telltale Games will be offered freelance roles with full-time positions possible in the future. Of course, given that Telltale staff were all unceremoniously fired last September without severance and were left scurrying to find new jobs, many of them have gone elsewhere. But it's nice to know that those who didn't find employment or are looking to return to the shambling corpse of Telltale may find full-time positions possible in the future. And man, he layered that one with sarcasm, and that's appropriate. Ottley also told Polygon that they plan to resell some of the old Telltale games, many of which have been delisted from digital stores, and try to continue making new ones. It remains unclear just how many of Telltale's staff will work with this new company in Malibu. Headlines across the internet this morning have declared that Telltale Games is back, but as always, it is important to remember, and this is the key here, that brands don't make video games, people do, and this reboot of Telltale Games has enough red flags to set off a rodeo. And so that's pretty much where the situation ends as we see it here on August the 29th of 2019, because Telltale Games is not back, make no mistake. And I saw a lot of the former employees talking on Twitter about how they had come back and they're joining the studio for at least the freelance role, if not more. But on top of that, you had some people saying, hey, this is not the Telltale that I know and love. This is not the Telltale that I worked at. And I don't know how to feel about this. It's very much so a roller coaster of emotions whenever you see a name that is so beloved coming back, but only in name and name alone. As Jason Schreier points out, it's kind of like a rambling corpse that would be killed in The Walking Dead by Clementine. This just simply isn't Telltale Games. Now, with that being said, this could turn out to be a big plus for the community. You never know. These people could treat all these games with respect instead of, just kind of using them to siphon tons and tons of money from the gaming audience that has an unnecessary piece of nostalgia in their hearts for Telltale Games. But they could also make new games. They could also bring new, fresh ideas. They could also take the core, the heart of Telltale, and bring it back for a brand new audience for generations to come. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but right now, I think hesitation is a pretty good approach to this entire situation. So we will see what happens with the new Telltale Games. Again, I do want to reiterate that Telltale Games is not back. The name is back, and this is a whole new company that's trying to do what Telltale Games originally did. So, again, that's kind of how that's sitting today. However, moving on to the next topic of the day, over 6.6 million user-generated maps have been copied for Halo the Master Chief Collection. Millions of custom maps from older Halo titles will be accessible in Halo the Master Chief Collection. Over 6.6 million user-generated maps have been copied from Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo Reach. These maps will be accessible on Halo the Master Chief Collection, meaning that users won't lose access to their favorite maps when switching to a new platform. Custom maps are a beloved feature many Halo players that use, and these maps are being well received on the Xbox One subreddit. The official Halo Twitter account broke the news about how many maps were copied. Earlier this month, custom game types received a similar treatment. A Halo Waypoint post states that the game types and maps will be playable on both the Xbox One and PC versions of the Master Chief Collection. The maps are not accessible yet, but the plan is that they will be available soon. Had a little Canadian in there. That they're going to be coming to the Halo Master Chief Collection near you, yeah? But since transferring game types and maps to Xbox One and PC requires work to the current version of Master Chief Collection, I promise I can read, our intention is that they will become available when Halo Reach releases on both platforms, with Halo 3 and Halo 4 content on PC becoming available once those titles are released. As we get closer and have a better idea of when it should land, we will share an exact date, end quote. What is your favorite custom map from Halo? Will you play on custom maps on the Master Chief Collection? And of course, let us know in the comments section below, they say, over there at Windows Central. This is a very exciting piece of news. Of course, for those that don't know, fan-created maps were a big part of Halo 3, Halo 4, etc., etc. People loved diving into the fan-made maps. As a matter of fact, I saw Chris Raygun, host of Sacred Symbols, literally in all caps, just lava pit, it's coming back. Everybody loves these fan-made maps. And so with 6.6 million user-generated maps being brought forward to the Master Chief Collection, you are not going to be short of brand new maps to play. But I think this is a pretty good move to ensure that the version of the game that is included with the Master Chief Collection is truly, at heart, Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo Reach, because the user-generated portions of those games was a massive part of the experience. It's not something you can forego and just ignore. It's something that needs to be addressed. It's something that needs to be brought forward if possible, and it turns out that it is, in fact, possible. But I do want to point out that much like the team at Hello Games, you do have a big movement to continue supporting Halo the Master Chief Collection when it very well could have been abandoned years and years ago, because when the game came out right at the launch of the Xbox One generation, it was not looking pretty. There were a lot of issues, there were a lot of people complaining, and they very well could have released it, said, hey, the campaigns are working and the multiplayer is in shambles but also sort of functional, let's go ahead and move on. But the team has been given the money, they've been given the funding, they've been given the backing from Microsoft to continue to improve these games going forward, and I think this is going to be pretty much the go-to way to experience Halo for generations to come. But of course, if you did want to dive in right now, the game is out on Xbox One. Halo Reach is coming soon to PC, followed by the other games shortly thereafter. But it's going to include tons and tons of user-generated maps for you to dive into and enjoy in the online multiplayer. However, you could be watching some of that on Twitch because, of course, Twitch is a big live streaming platform where you can watch millions of gamers around the world play their favorite games, chat their favorite chats, or do whatever they might do on live stream. But Twitch and Subway are partnering up for SUBtember. You can support your favorite streamer, and it's going to be cheaper in September. Twitch has signed a partnership with restaurant franchise Subway for this year's SUBtember, the streaming platform announced today. SUBtember will run from the 3rd of September to the 24th, and they will offer a 50% discount on new Tier 1 subscriptions made on a web browser or the platform's desktop app. SUBtember was introduced in 2017 and allows viewers to show more support for their favorite streamers. This does not mean that streamers receive half of the subscription's value, though. Twitch will give the full value to them just like it's done in previous editions of SUBtember. You have to be logged into your Twitch account to subscribe to your favorite streamers. There is no limit on the number of times a user can subscribe using the SUBtember discount, and subscribers often gain access to all of that streamer's chat emotes, ad-free viewing, and a subscriber badge that gets upgraded the longer you support that streamer. Subway will be gifting subscriptions in various channels, creating its own Twitch channel to invite streamers, and giving out 10% more bits when a user cheers 10 or more. SUBtember is not available for Twitch Mobile, however. After 1 month, the subscription will renew at the normal price. Last year, one of the most famous streamers, Michael Shroud Greshik, I have no idea how to say his last name, but it's Shroud. We all know and love Shroud. Had a partnership with Twitch that offered $1 subscriptions for SUBtember. It is unclear if he or anyone else will have a similar promotion this year. And so, SUBtember is back. Of course, I say this because Twitch has become such a big powerhouse of content creation and of, in general, entertainment, that to know that you can support your favorite streamer for half of the price this month is a pretty cool thing to see. On top of that, Subway partnering with Twitch to offer 10% more on bits cheered that are 10 bits or over is a pretty cool feature as well. But if you do want to dive in, again, running the 3rd through the 24th of September, you are going to be getting tons of discounts. The grammar is flowing this morning at 7:37 a.m. Just flowing. But on top of that, I will say, be sure to monitor your subscriptions because these will renew automatically at the end of the month once they have expired. And so, you don't want to go and buy 50 channel subscriptions because they're half off, and then all of a sudden next month, you've got double that amount of money being taken out of your bank account because, hey, you forgot to cancel some of your subscriptions. And also, on the flip side of that, streamers, if you're out there, don't think of this as the new norm. See this as a bonus because, quite frankly, you are going to be getting some subscriptions that you probably wouldn't normally be getting. And so don't sign a new lease on that house. Don't buy a new car. Don't do anything you can't financially afford just because you're getting a couple of extra bits and some more subs in the month of September. That's going to go away very quickly come October, just letting you know. Just letting you know. But if you did want to jump on Twitch and flip that streaming switch, you could be playing Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition because it is out today for $40, and it's one of the best deals on the PlayStation catalog. Sony has just announced that Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition is available now. The Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition reveal was somewhat spoiled by a couple of retailer leaks earlier in the week, and it looks like the official announcement doesn't bring any new information. Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition is priced at $40 and includes all previously released DLC. That is all 3 episodes of The City That Never Sleeps, Story, Silver Lining, Turf Wars, and The Heist. This is essentially the same content in the game's deluxe edition. Game of the Year Edition replaces the standard edition too, at least on the PlayStation Store. And so, of course, you can check out the entire trailer if you did want to see exactly what it did have to offer. But again, it includes the base game and all of the DLC from The City That Never Sleeps for $40. And I will say, this is one of the few games that I platinumed within a week of its release. And it's not a difficult platinum when you're talking about the base game. The DLC, a bit more intricate, but the look of the game, the appearance of the game, the gameplay itself, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I could not recommend Spider-Man more. It is just the pinnacle of superhero games. I mean, I put it on par with Batman Arkham Knight, which I was a big fan of. The combat is so smooth. The story is so stellar. The voice acting, the facial tracking, everything about this game is just absolutely mind-blowing, and I could not recommend it enough. I'm trying to make eye contact with the camera, and I'm sitting here just wanting to play Spider-Man again. Like, literally, this trailer has got me going. So, again, be greater, as the tagline does say, and go out there and get you some of that Spider-Man, because for $40, you literally can't go wrong on that one. There is so much game here. So much game. So much game. But if you don't like Spider-Man and you like Batman Arkham Knight, I've got a deal for you. Instead of paying $40, you could get it for free if you have PlayStation Plus alongside Darksiders 3, because that is September's PlayStation Plus games lineup. Sony has announced its PlayStation Plus offering for September. Both Batman Arkham Knight and Darksiders 3 will be available for download starting September the 3rd until September the 30th. This means that you have until September the 3rd to pick up August PlayStation Plus titles, which include Sniper Elite 4 and Wipeout Omega Collection. Wipeout Omega Collection collection includes Wipeout 2048, Wipeout HD, and HD Fury expansion in one package. And Sniper Elite 4 features a cooperative campaign mode, competitive multiplayer for up to 12 players, and more if you did want to dive in and give it a look. But again, these are some pretty stellar games. As I said, I'm a big fan of Batman Arkham Knight. It is fantastic. It is a PlayStation hit for a reason, because the combat in this game is second to none. Rocksteady absolutely killed it with that specific game. And of course, Darksiders 3, a very interesting game that kind of changed up the combat of the Darksiders franchise, going from something of a hack and slash to a little bit more of a Dark Souls kind of approach. But again, if you do want to dive in and check out Batman Arkham Knight or the Darksiders 3, you can dive in starting September the 3rd all the way until September the 30th on the PlayStation 4. Now, I will say tomorrow we'll probably be talking about the Xbox Games with Gold because they tend to be announced in tandem, so stay tuned for that if you are a fan of the green console as compared to the blue console. But that pretty much rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. Of course, if you are brand new to the show, be sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy what I brought to the table, and then consider subscribing if you really enjoyed what I actually created here today, because I do create it every single weekday, Monday through Friday, and it should be up on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia, as well as podcast services around the world if you were so inclined to give it a look or give it a listen. But I will talk to you tomorrow. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and peace.